Bienvenue à Coffee Break French.
Welcome back to the Coffee Break French Show. Moi, c'est Marc.
Et je suis Max.
Comment vas-tu, Max?
Très bien, et toi?
Super bien, oui, super bien.
Super, un autre épisode du show. And in these weekly episodes, we are here to help you improve your French one coffee break at a time.
Absolutely. Now, if you are watching our video version of this show, then please make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Or if you're listening to the podcast, then you can subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Now, Max, last time we were talking about liaisons, and I'm really quite chuffed. One of my favorite words. I'm pleased because I kind of feel I understand liaisons a bit better now.
Excellent, super, that's the point.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope our listeners also.
But there is more to say about liaison.
There is indeed, because last time we looked at the liaisons which were compulsory, and this time we're going to be looking at another category of liaison.
Yes, the forbidden ones.
On y va?
Allez, c'est parti.
I'm going to tell our listeners something here. You know, just before we got started, I was asking Max what the time was because we were running a little late this morning to get organised, and Max told me the time. It was 9:15.
9h15.
9h15, and that got us talking about another type of liaison because the F of neuf becomes neuve with a kind of V sound when we're talking about 9h.
It does, 9h. So, and it would sound quite odd if you pronounce it like an F, the way it's written.
Yeah.
Neuf.
Yeah.
No, it would sound odd to the native speaker ear. So 9h.
And I guess that's exactly what we're trying to do with these episodes, help our listeners and our viewers avoid sounding not like a native speaker and help them sound more like a native speaker.
Exactement.
Talking of which, since the last episode, I was thinking about another type of noun in a sense, and it is a noun that begins in H. What happens there? Because there's something that we need to keep in mind.
So that's the perfect transition between compulsory and forbidden, because there's two kinds of H, if that makes sense.
Okay, right.
We have what we call le H aspiré.
Yeah, okay.
And this one prevents the liaison.
Right.
But you can have a H muet, which makes the liaison compulsory.
Okay, so let's think about this, because basically when we're learning vocabulary, and if a word begins in H, it's quite important to know whether it's an H aspiré or H muet.
Oui.
And normally that's written like in the dictionary or in the pronunciation,
yeah.
Or if you're using something like word reference, it will say, attention, le H est aspiré, par exemple.
Yes, because as I said, it changes the liaison and also the elision. So it would be le instead of L apostrophe, for example.
Take the word homme for man.
Oui, so that's H muet with the liaison is compulsory. So deux hommes.
Yeah. So un homme, l'homme, L apostrophe, l'homme, but deux hommes. So we're hearing that liaison, and as you say, it's compulsory. But we would have another word like, for example, hibou.
Hibou, what a nice word.
An owl. So an owl would be?
Un hibou.
So did you hear what Max did there?
Un hibou.
So repeat that after Max, please.
Un hibou.
So we stop after un and then say hibou.
Yes.
And the same would happen with a hedgehog.
Oui, un hérisson.
Un hérisson. And in each case here, the definite article would be le. It wouldn't be L apostrophe.
It is le, indeed.
Le. What about the sport hockey?
Le hockey.
So again, there's a break there. Le hockey. So in each case, these are H aspiré, and that's what's blocking the liaison. So un hérisson.
Exactement. Un hérisson. Un hibou. Le hockey.
Okay, so those are a couple of situations with neuf and with H aspiré and H muet that we need to keep in mind when we're thinking about liaisons. But today we're focusing on liaisons which are forbidden. So this is the big no-no when you can't make the liaison. And I think there's one word that we need to start with.
The word et.
Et. Et, meaning and. And there is never, we'll never hear a liaison with et, even though it ends in a T.
Never, ever. For once, there's no exception.
Yes.
Et is et and never, ever liaison.
And if you do hear it, then someone's making a mistake.
Yes.
Of course, we could hear the word est. C'est une voiture.
That's different, and that would be an optional liaison.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's perfectly fine.
But with ET, there is no
Non.
liaison.
Jamais.
D'accord.
D'autres liaisons interdites?
Je t'en prie.
Oui. So, if you have the subject of a sentence that is not a pronoun,
Yep.
for example, if I say le chien,
Yeah.
right? Between this and the verb, the liaison is forbidden.
Right. So, le chien aboie.
Exactly. The dog is barking. So, it's impossible to say le chien n'aboie.
Yeah. Okay. Le chien aboie. So, if we were asking, does someone have some coffee, for example, quelqu'un a du café?
Bien sûr. The liaison as well, forbidden. Quelqu'un a du café.
So, it's not quelqu'un n'a du café. Quelqu'un
No, that
a
would
du
sound
café.
actually have a ne,
Yeah.
a written ne, which is the negative.
Of course.
So
yeah.
turning it into negatives.
Yeah. Okay. So that's when we've got subject plus a verb. Okay.
And I think just like A, it's nice to have words that never connect,
Yeah.
never have a liaison, like combien.
Combien? Okay, so that ends in an N, but if it's followed by a vowel, we're not going to hear that N.
Never.
So give us an example.
Combien avons-nous de livres?
So how many books do we have? Combien avons-nous de livres? Okay, good.
Ouais. And we mentioned in the previous episode, comment.
Yeah, so that one, there's only a liaison when we say comment allez-vous?
Exactement. And every other time you come across comment followed by a vowel, no liaison.
Super. Okay. Comment a-t-il pris la nouvelle, par exemple?
Parfait. How did he
take the news? Okay.
And because we talked about the previous episode, we also mentioned quand in the previous episode, ending with a D pronounced like a T.
Yes.
It's not always, there's not always a liaison after quand. There's some context when there's it's not allowed.
Okay, so when would it not be allowed?
So when quand is followed by a reversed subject and verb. So when did he arrive?
Yeah.
Quand est-il arrivé?
Quand est-il arrivé? So you don't say quand est-il arrivé.
Exactement.
Yeah.
But if est-il was il est, then it's compulsory.
Quand il est arrivé.
Quand il est arrivé.
Quand il est arrivé, il nous a dit bonjour, etc.
Il nous a dit. Oui.
Hein? Il nous a dit, ouais, c'est tout à fait. Tout à fait.
But quand est-il, impossible to have a liaison there.
Okay. I suppose it kind of makes sense because there's a very strong t in quand est-il. And it would sound a little bit odd to say quand est-il.
It would sound too much. And sometimes French language cares about being easy to pronounce.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
So there's another situation, of course, a couple more, where the liaisons are forbidden, which is after a conjugated verb.
Okay, give us an example of what you mean there.
So if you want to say he's learning a lesson, the verb is il apprend.
Il apprend, yeah, it ends in D.
It ends in a D. And une leçon
starts with a vowel.
But it's forbidden.
Yeah, so we wouldn't say il apprend d'une leçon or il apprend une leçon or anything like that.
No, it would be il apprend une leçon.
Yeah, okay. And even that little stop of breath, il apprend une leçon, there's a kind of stop before you continue.
Yes, because that's what liaisons are all about, to have one more smooth.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's blocked. For example, if I say Mark is drinking a coffee, it would be Marc boit un café.
Un café, yeah, so not Marc boit un café or anything like that.
Exactement.
Okay, good. Or, for example, she's off on holiday, elle part en vacances then.
Elle part en vacances.
No,
Silent.
Elle part en vacances.
Yeah, so you would still hear it if it was they. Elles partent en vacances.
Yeah, of course. So the elle, the plural form, then we're hearing the t sound there. Elle part en vacances. But here, elle part, singular, en vacances.
Oui, exactement.
Okay.
Une autre situation?
Je t'en prie.
Oui. This one is more straightforward.
Yeah.
And after un prénom.
Okay. So after a first name.
After a first name, do not connect it to the next word.
Right.
And there's a few names ending in a silent T, for example.
Yeah, Pierre Benoit.
Pierre Benoit, oui. Or Vincent.
Yeah, okay.
Etc. So you would say Pierre Benoit est en France.
Right. Not Pierre Benoit est en France. That sounds weird.
It does. Yeah. Sometimes it helps. It does sound weird. Or if you want to say Vincent has a nice car, Vincent a une belle voiture.
Belle voiture. D'accord. Okay. So we've talked about after names. We've talked about after verbs. We've talked about combien, comment, and also some situations with quand. We've talked about when a subject goes straight into a verb, if the subject is not a pronoun.
Oui.
So, le chien aboie.
Parfait.
And of course, we've talked at the beginning about the H aspiré, the H muet, and the F's to V's for neuf.
Oui.
Quite a lot in here.
One last?
Go on.
Okay, thank you. If you have a long adverb ending in a T.
Like immédiatement.
Immédiatement or absolument.
Yeah.
Anything in ment that's more than 2 syllables, basically.
Okay.
Then it's forbidden after.
Wow, okay. So give us an example.
Il est immédiatement intervenu.
Right, so he immediately spoke out, he intervened, basically.
Or if you think of vraiment as well, which is a more common word, il est vraiment intelligent.
Right, so vraiment has 2 syllables.
Which is too much to qualify as a short adverb.
Okay,
So
fair
2
enough.
and plus, no liaison.
Liaison. Okay, we've covered a lot in this episode.
We did, and in the previous one.
Yep.
So we had a lot of compulsory situations, a lot of forbidden.
Yep.
There's more of each because there's many very specific cases
Okay.
that wouldn't fit in 1 or 2 episodes. But you can imagine that the rest of the situations are more or less all optional. Most of them are optional.
So we can choose whether to make the liaison or not.
Exactement.
If it doesn't fall into one of these compulsory or forbidden situations.
Exactement.
Okay.
Alors, how about a little test?
Testing our liaison. Okay. We'll go for it, yeah.
Right?
I'm
try.
happy to be put to the test in this one now.
So I'll just give you the English and you will tell me the sentence.
Okay, vas-y.
Let's start with a fairly straightforward one. The children like to play.
Right, the children like to play. I'm thinking how this looks. The children like to play. So that would be les enfants
with a
liaison.
Compulsory one.
Aiment jouer.
Aiment jouer. So enfant ends with an S.
Yep.
But you cannot, it's forbidden to link the subject if it's not a pronoun.
Yep.
And les enfants is not a pronoun. So you cannot liaison with aiment.
But if it were they, it would be ils aiment jouer.
And that would be compulsory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've understood something. Okay.
Okay. Fairly similar. The pupils, the students study seriously.
Serious. Well, that's kind of going to go to the end, so we don't need to worry about that. So the students study seriously. Les étudiants.
Ouais.
Les étudiants
Or,
étudient
ouais.
sérieusement.
C'est parfait. So,
Okay.
les étudiants or les élèves, if you translate pupils,
Yeah.
liaison obligatoire.
Uh-huh.
And then it's forbidden to link étudiant, the final S,
Yep.
to the verb coming.
It's the same situation as the previous
It's the
one.
same.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Building up the confidence.
Absolutely.
How about Vincent and Anne are going to the cinema?
Right.
And-
So, there's a piège in here, isn't there? So we've got prénom,
Oui.
Vincent et Anne.
2 forbidden ones.
Two
indeed.
forbidden. So Vincent et Anne vont au cinéma.
Vont au cinéma, vont au cinéma. It is an optional one.
Okay, right.
But Vincent et Anne, there's only one way to say it.
Yeah, Vincent
Twice.
et Anne. Would you run that together, or would you put little stops in between?
Vincent et Anne.
Vincent et Anne.
Vincent et Anne.
Comme ça.
Bit faster, but not so together either.
Yeah.
Vincent et Anne.
Vincent et Anne vont au cinéma, or
Au
vont
cinéma.
au cinéma.
Ouais.
Okay. Does it sound posh if you say vont au cinéma?
A little bit to me, yeah. So in spoken French, most of the time when the liaison is optional, you will not hear it. People choose not to have a liaison when it's
Yeah.
just optional.
Okay, right, in spoken French, but in a more kind of formal French, I'm guessing that we might more likely hear
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So if you're watching the news on TV or if you're at a book reading,
Yeah.
there would definitely the liaison will be.
Okay, good to know for the next time I'm reading the news on TV. Okay,
Okay, a bit more difficult.
right.
How would you ask someone, is it in the month that they arrive?
Is it in a month that they arrive? Okay. So, is it in a month? So, est-ce que c'est
Ouais.
in a month? Dans un mois?
Compulsory after dans. Oui.
That they arrive, qu'ils arrivent.
Qu'ils arrivent.
Because it's subject pronoun.
Super.
But if it were Vincent and Anne, then est-ce que c'est dans un mois que Vincent et Anne arrivent?
With 3 forbidden in a row. Exactement.
Okay.
A last one that's pretty nice.
Right.
How would you say a big or large independent state?
Oh la 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 la.
You also have to think of the order of words in terms of adjectives. That was season 1.
Oh la la. So, a big independent state. So, independent's going to go after the noun.
Oui.
A big state independent. So, un grand, is it grand état?
Un grand état.
Un grand état indépendant.
Indépendant. Super.
So, it sounded better to say un grand état indépendant rather than un grand état indépendant for me, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
You have a great feeling of French language
Okay.
instinct. So, un grand état, you have to link the adjective to the noun. But an adjective after a noun, it's not linked.
So, the first one is compulsory, un grand état.
Un grand état.
And then the second one is forbidden.
It's forbidden.
So, un grand état indépendant. And I suppose that is, even though it's compulsory, it's the kind of thing you are likely to hear more in a speech than in everyday conversation.
Oui, but the word grand is very basic. So if you had anything more basic, un grand appartement, for example, it's compulsory.
Compulsory. Wow, we have covered a lot in this episode.
Oui, je suis très fier.
Juste moi, je suis très fatigué. En fait. We'll call it a day there. We hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Once again, there are lots of examples here and it really will help to see them written down. So do visit the blog article. You can find the link in the description.
And we also send out regular free email lessons. So if you'd like more help with your French, visit coffeebreaklanguages.com/French.
You can look forward to that email coming very soon. For now, merci beaucoup, Max, encore une fois.
Merci à toi et bravo.
Merci. Et à la prochaine.
Happy coffee breaking.
You have been listening to a Coffee Break Languages production for the Radiolingua Network. Copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. Recording copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. All rights reserved.